Fucking hell, what a long evening that was. What a long evening that was. And ironically, the second Man United decide, hey, maybe we should turn up to this game. The game just suddenly disappears. It just flies by. It's like, it's almost if, time flies when you're having fun. And usually, as a football fan, you're having fun when you're watching your team actually, you know, play and compete and actually do something on a football pitch that's competent, that's good, that's creative, it's positive. Positivity on the pitch. That's what a football fan hopes to see when they go to watch the team. And today, my God, from the 82nd minute and before, well, we were on the cusp of probably the most embarrassing feat of the Premier League season so far. Now, Southampton, right? And credit where credit is due, right? Before we delve into anything, Southampton probably on the balance of the game, taking away from the last 10 or so minutes of that game plus stoppage time, were the better performing team. Did more with the possession, made better of their chances the first half. They could have been out of sight. They should have been out of sight. Their number 20, Sulemana, right, played predominantly down on the left-hand side. I think on my screen it shows them playing a 3-4-2-1, but I think it was actually a 3-4-1-2. So their two forward lines, more of a false nine, and their two forwards playing slightly wider, drifting wide. Sulemana absolutely destroyed, ended the defensive integrity of Lenny Yoro and Amad Diallo. The pace on that guy and agility of low center of gravity was ridiculous. Genuinely ridiculous. Every time, even with a head start for Lenny Yoro, this guy was getting cooked alive. Absolutely cooked alive. And it took for a while, quite a while, to making the changes to actually address that issue. But that was the prevalent problem that we had pretty much for the whole first half. The right-hand side, easy channels, easy way in, just a bit of pace, and the pressing, with Man United, yeah, sure, the possession was flat, the passing was flat, and losing the ball very cheaply in the transitional phase through the middle of the park. And it's just like, it's like your possession game is to be press resistant. You're meant to be playing against that, and quick pass and move, constantly on the move. And one feature of that team, especially the first half in possession, that was abundantly a glaring issue that we saw immediately after the substitution was made, so much better going forwards, so much better in possession higher up the pitch. That substitution was Højlund for Xerxes. Take Højlund off that pitch, you don't get a low IQ player who doesn't understand what he's meant to be doing on the football pitch. Honestly, this is the big problem that I have with Højlund. Today, he looked like the only player on that pitch that tactically had zero clue. He's like, he had his instructions given to him, and the guys just sat there like, you want me to do what? Seriously, the guy looks so clueless. Absolutely clueless. No idea where he is. That's just low intelligence. Xerxes comes on the pitch, immediately possession issues up top. Psh, gone. The only people losing the ball were Diallo in taking on players, Anthony taking on players, and Garnacho, but they're in positions where you're more or less expected to lose the ball. Højlund made the game up top for United uncompetitive. He took the edge away from United. Xerxes came on and he started just linking, he just started, having interlinking play. Short passes here, short passes there. I don't have afterburners like Højlund does, but I'm going to use my other strengths that I have to better the teammates around me. It's no coincidence the second we get Xerxes up top, more of a goal threat. The ball gets looked after better higher up the pitch. It's no coincidence. And I don't know about you guys, possibly, maybe, full-backs as the wing-backs or wingers as your wing-backs, maybe that's not so much of an issue. Maybe it's the striker killing everything we do when we have the ball. Maybe we need the player who can actually do something with the ball and has a bit of a noggin on them to figure out what the next step of the play is. Højlund has no clue. Xerxes has a clue. Immediately, I believed he should have started today. Joshua Xerxes. I believe he should have started. And unfortunately, it gets for us to be in an embarrassing position before, Xerxes ends up. You have to sub him on. I see from other substitutions today, like Agate coming off to bring Toby Collier on, and people say, "Oh, why would you do that? He's the best player." Was he really though? Was he really the best outfield player? Because for me, it just feels like with Agate, he looked quite shaky. There's quite a few times I know he's got a Duracell battery in him, and he just doesn't stop running for love nor money. Whenever he had the ball, he just looked a bit shaky today. Like in several times in the turnovers of possession, and the ball's coming through the middle, he's out of position, so he's constantly having to run like hell to get into position. Toby Collier just played deeper when he came on, just sat deeper. Agate kept going forwards. Collier sat deeper. So for me, I think maybe the partnership you'd ought to look at is Agate Collier. Maybe that's the better option, because if you've got Collier who can sit, you've got Agate that is less risk when he moves forward up the pitch, because Collier's holding a deeper position to occupy space, and it's not as simple as a cut-through job straight through the middle. So, yeah, I think Agate, unfortunate as well with the first goal for Southampton, because that came straight in from a corner. Martinez playing front man. I don't know what's going on there, because the header straight in, I think it was from Dibbling. I can't remember who it was from, whether that was Dibbling or somebody else, getting their head onto the ball and just puts it into a dangerous position. Agate's back's turned by this point, so he's ended up sort of not really knowing where the ball's gone. I think he felt it go off, and Arna tried the hardest he could. And to be fair, Arna, we hats off to you for your first half performance. Yeah, because that goalkeeper spared us from embarrassment. That goalkeeper kept us in the game and competing by half time, despite being a goal down. So we've had a great performance from Bayindir midweek, well, on last weekend rather. We've now had Onana put in a good goalkeeping performance. That just looks like there's two goalkeepers at the moment that are desperate to play for first team football, that feel a bit of threat from each other because they look like they both had each a good performance. So there's contention there. Bayindir's going to think, I've got to step up now because he's played a good performance. Kobbie Mainoo today is a baffler. Real baffler. For some reason, I know that there is part of this system for Amorim where you got to move a player off the ball, drift a little bit higher up the pitch. There's an element of the tactical setup that occasionally calls for that. But the balance between Mainoo and Agate today made absolutely no sense. Because where Agate, as I've said, is pushing higher up the pitch at times in the turnover of possession, took one pass to sort of get behind the defensive line, the midfield line, and a little bit of space to operate in. Kobbie Mainoo was way higher up the pitch. Like the guy's average positioning looked much closer to a number 10 than a number 8. Like he was drifting up high up the pitch. And the thing is I won't say that Kobbie, trash player, shit this, shit that. For me, Kobbie looks like he feels like it's like a magnetic pull towards that 10, right? It's like he's being sucked in to that number 10 position because the guy's meant to be defending when the ball gets turned over. He's positionally, he has to play deeper, but the guy's practically holding hands with Bruno Fernandes for most of that first half. He's in and around where Garnacho is. But the thing is that what doesn't make sense about his positioning today, despite drifting that high up the pitch, every time we got closer to the goal, he wasn't actually involved, barring one or two instances. So positionally, he was deeper than he should have been. It's like there's two sides of this, where it's like when he's meant to be deeper, he's too high up the pitch. When he's meant to be higher up the pitch, he's too deep. Like, which way round is it? For me, a good way to fix that is just, right, okay, positionally, you're playing number 10. Get in there and sit. Sit in that 10 position, right, and occupy that high press defensive, play style, right, and be ready to receive the ball. The midfield balance improved when moving Fernandes into the 8. It improved slightly, but for me, it changed when Collier came on. Defensively, we looked better, less opportunities. They had to go through Sulemana. They had to go through him. There's nothing coming down the right-hand side. Sugawara ended up running the ball out of play and just losing it, awfully down the right-hand side. So Sulemana was the sole danger man for them. That's because we closed the door through the middle. The door was closed. Toby Collier did what we needed to do. Ahmad wants Arsenal next season. Your biggest to Oregon Guna. For Ahmad to end up at Arsenal, you first have to not have Mikel Arteta as your manager. Step one. Because Bukayo Saka, for as long as he still has a pulse and breathes oxygen, will always be the only right winger option that you have. And would much rather play, like even if the club signed Amad Diallo by some miracle for Mikel Arteta, the guy would still probably play Bukayo Saka with 2 broken legs than Amad Diallo. Yeah, there's a strange love affair with an obsession with playing Saka. But that's a Arteta issue. Um, but just in general as a whole, we'll talk about our goals we scored, right? The goals come because the team balance feels better. The ball spends more time higher up the pitch, and we spend more time on the ball in the attacking scenarios. So with that, there's more time for Southampton's defence to open up gaps to exploit. Xerxes, I just think, is being an unsung hero because the guy he had instances where it's just like you want to pull your hair out because it's just like Xerxes, why would you fucking do that? But then other times you see what else he can deliver on the pitch, and the amount of times he's connected play, the amount of times he's just given that sort of quick flick ball, just lay it off to the guy that's making the run in behind. Diallo, Anthony, Garnacho, and Fernandez, all four of those players had one of those balls given to them by Xerxes. Goal scoring opportunity. But sometimes with our attackers, they just don't have the sense to go with it because we are low football IQ. We are low football IQ. But Xerxes has a picture in his head and he executes it. Thank goodness that Amorim is coaching these players, regardless of whatever you do, just constantly follow through that run in that channel, coming in from wide to go more inverted. And Xerxes is feeding it in every single time. Game changer. And I see people say, oh, he wasn't really a game changer, though, was he? Well, actually, he was, because the balance up top massively improved when he was on the pitch. Massively improved. That guy starts against Brighton. No excuses. Højlund, Sergeant Ratcliffe was at the ground today. If you ever want to sell somebody, yeah, worry a little bit less about Garnacho. I'd still sell Garnacho, by the way, because I'm not sentimental FC. I could give less of a toss about feeling sentimental about a player. I could give less of a damn. I'd still sell him. But that Højlund, yeah, that's a guy you sell, yeah, Mr. Ratcliffe. That's the guy you sell. Sell him. Get rid of him. Get a striker in that actually has a brain on him. Yeah. Think about that. Have that for some words of wisdom, Jimbo. Have that for some words of wisdom. Because you just witnessed a caveman, yeah, a Neanderthal play up top versus somebody that actually looks like they've got the technicality to hang at the top level. They've got the technicality to play at this level. Yeah. The guy spent, like Xerxes, doesn't even look for half of these players and he's playing the ball to them. The guy doesn't look. He knows where they are. That's awareness. Spatial awareness. That's what Xerxes has as well. That Højlund doesn't, because Højlund's getting pickpocketed by a player that doesn't mark him. Make that make sense, guys, if you can. Højlund receives the ball unmarked and still loses it by a player not marking him. How does this work? How does that happen? He's the only player, one of the only strikers in the entire Premier League which that happens to. Literally, you don't stick a man on him. Seriously, don't stick a man on Rasmus Højlund and he will still somehow lose the ball. It's honestly incredible. He could have had he could have had an assist today if Garnacho didn't scuff up the chance in the first half where he hits it on his right foot. Ramsdale doesn't have the far left post covered. He doesn't. So the shot is then bending away. So he caresses it on the inside of his boot, but he lets the spin carry through. So for me, if I'm in that position, I'm still focusing on, delivering that strike straight and true. I'm not letting spin carry through on that shot. I'll tell you what I would have done. I would take Garnacho out of that. I would have started Xerxes, take Garnacho out of that, and stuck Sulemana in there. I'd take Sulemana. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, Tyler Dibbling." I've got to be honest, Sulemana was fucking miles better than everybody else on the pitch for Southampton. That guy just cooked everybody he came up against. Absolutely cooked. Big up Stanley Herbert, big up Fuzzy. Good win tonight. Good stuff after that United first goal. And that's the situation. It took 82 minutes before United really turned up as a team. Before the team turned up, Xerxes came on the pitch in the 53rd minute, and individually was trying to carry this whole team. Get up the pitch, guys! Get up the pitch. The balance of midfield wasn't getting the ball through to him consistently enough. So you made another change. Bring Ericsson onto the pitch. So we're creating more chances with Xerxes on the pitch. Toby Collier also improves midfield balance. The chances start coming. We get that goal. We're level on the score sheet. Christian Eriksen comes on. For Mazraoui, I don't know where the balance went with that. I mean, Maguire came on for Euro. Maybe a bit later in the day. I mean, fucking hell. De Ligt went out to play right-sided centre-back, and this guy had enough of Sulemana and just fucking clocked him. There's one chance that Sulemana was ready to stick the afterburners on him. De Ligt was just like, die, motherfucker, and just cleaned him. Cleaned him completely. So, I mean, De Ligt's a good game today. Genuinely a good game from De Ligt today. Crucial presence at the back. Thought Martinez a little bit suspect on set pieces. Yoro just unfortunately cooked a life for pace. Mazraoui got caught out a couple of times today. He did. He got caught out with the ball over the top with the switch of the play, which for some reason, no matter what, our wider players seem to have issues with the blind spot and the switch of the play, ball in behind. So yeah, I think Mazraoui not as good of a game today for Mazraoui. Fernandez, I thought, was bad decision, bad execution at various times. I think second half probably more intelligent with his movement, so getting various chances, but I still think the execution today was missing. But this is the thing. We had Arsenal, we turned up with 10 men. You had 11 men today, and you just disappeared. Everyone's banging on about it in the club, in the team. Why are we so inconsistent? Why can't we do this every game? Well, go home tonight from that game and wonder, why were we so shit for 82 minutes again? Why were we so bad? Genuinely. What is it that is changing from game to game dependent on the opponent? Can we just play Liverpool every week then? Is that what we're waiting for? Just play Liverpool every week just so that we can guarantee United turn up and get more consistency? Is that what the players are hoping for? Southampton have won one game all season. Scored 13 goals before today, right? We gave them their 14th. And have conceded, 44 goals? Yeah, they conceded 44 goals. Only Leicester had conceded more at that point, and Wolves. Wolves and Leicester. So worst goal difference by a long shot, but they played considerably better than us for probably about 50 or so minutes, like miles better than us. It's when we started making the substitutions that the complexion of the game changed. But Jesus Christ, big up Ravi. Big ups to you. Good to see you. That was down to Amarim with good subs, the win. And listen, people are going to call out Amarim for some of his substitutions because obviously we don't play player FC. Um, we're Manchester United FC first. Like, tidy your act up, will you? Tidy your act up. We're not buying the bullshit. You can't look at that game and say, "Oh, why would you take your best player off?" Legato was not the best player on the pitch. The best player on the pitch was probably Onana and De Ligt. To be honest, one of those two probably get, in terms of performance across the full 90 minutes. For me, De Ligt and Onana can share man of the match for not having Southampton out of sight by half time. People crown King Ahmad, hat-trick hero today. You know what? And well done for Ahmad for turning up. For 90 minutes, you play absolutely abysmal. Amad Diallo was abysmal today until the 82nd minute. He gets a bit of luck, gets the carry through, and then just plays it on the right foot past Ramsdale, gets the goal. Then the balance shifts. Then the game goes very much in Man United's favour. And he just carries the momentum. And you do have to be there to do that. So whilst I can criticise Ahmad for an awful 82 minutes, you have to give plaudits, because if not for Ahmad's consistent pressing, the third goal doesn't happen. Like Ramsdale thought it would be an easy job. Just think about the next pass and let's get the ball up the pitch. He plays the pass and he realises, oh my God, Ahmad's coming. And the defender has no clue what's happening until he sees this red mist come flying past him. Ahmad's pressing from the front causes all sorts of problems, right? So he's off the ball work today, and he's done it several times. He's off the ball pressing. The energy was good. The delivery was probably his worst all season with Ahmad. But I'll give Amarim plaudits for making substitutions that are ballsy, because that's exactly the thing. People are questioning him for his substitutions, but his subs improved the balance of the team. It gave time for the team to turn the dial, get into better positions, start creating more chances. For me, that's a sign of a good manager. Like everyone else, whilst everyone else is busy criticising him and saying, "Oh, that's a shit sub, manager. That's a shit sub," he sees the picture and he maps out how the balance of the game's going to go. He watched the balance shift with every decision he made. And Ericsson coming on, for a guy that has no legs, he literally said, "Collier will watch your back. Just go forwards. And just connect play. Be an extra body just outside the box and connect the play." And his pass in for Ahmad's second goal was phenomenal. Fantastic balance of play and the movement to match from Amad Diallo. Puts the ball into a very, comes on, instant impact, instant assist. Credit once again to Amarim for the substitution. He saw an idea, he put it into play, changed the balance of the game again. Goals change games. I know that saying goes on, but substitutions change games also. The first half belongs to the players. Inconsistency FC. Second half belongs to the managers. Manager put the brain to work today. Yeah, he did. He made some unpopular decisions, but I put the faith that this manager actually had the idea in play, and the ideas came to fruition. But one thing that I have to say, which I'll close off with this, Amarim can't keep doing that every week. He just can't. We are January 16th, and Sergeant Ratcliffe has just watched a whole team of Manchester United players completely disgrace the Manchester United shirt for 45 minutes against statistically one of the worst Premier League sides of all time. And you should have been 4-0 down at half time. That says everything you need to know. And Sergeant Ratcliffe will sit there and probably say, hey, we've got no money to spend. Why is it then journalists keep reporting to us, that actually Man United, they can do something. They can do something. They're not completely just like forbidden from doing transfers because of FFP or PSR. That's not the case, they say. That's not the case. They can't go spending hundreds of millions. That's not possible. That would infringe on PSR and FFP. But you can still do the minor deals. You can still get players' bodies, get the bodies in. You can still ship players out. You can still loan players out, loan players in. You can still make movements. You are talking about making Manchester United a team with some of the best recruitment in the world. And the recruitment has been non-existent. We've been lauding up Diego Leon, who's popped over from Paraguay to have his medical, passed his medical, the deal is sealed. And now he's gone back to Paraguay for the rest of the season. And then he'll join us in the summer once he turns 18. Don't sit there and parade that signing. Don't parade it. Worry about the bodies you're getting in to start games, whilst the window's still going on, but also after the window slams shut on January, 31st? I believe it's 31st, yeah. On January 31st. We need to be making signings, Ineos. You've done no business that is of any significance to us. You can't look at Diego Leon. That doesn't count. The guy's back on loan in Paraguay. Well, I say back on loan. It's a pre-agreed deal. He's joining in the summer. But to me, you look at that game today. If I'm the owner, if I am in Sergeant Ratcliffe's shoes, I am fast tracking some unpopular decisions on the transfer front. I know people are going, but Garnacho's one of our own. He's one of our own. Yeah, people stick this out into the sphere as well. But why would we sell Garnacho for less than £50 million? We signed Mason Mount for 50 plus million. We signed Casemiro for 70 million. We signed Højlund for 70 million. What about that signing? What about that signing? Do people not understand the difference between fucking idiots in charge of a football club, bankers that have no fucking moral sense nor common logical sense, right? Couldn't buy a brain cell between the fucking lot of them, running a football club into the ground, overpaying for example, case in point, Anthony, 20 million at most. Ajax were going to let him go for about 30 at a push. Good negotiations, bring that down. No. Don't pay realistic fees. Don't pay fees that make more sense. No. Throw the bank at them, baby. Throw money. Throw the money. And not just the transfer fee of 80 million, by the way. The wages to match, baby. The wages to match. So you spend like a fucking imbecile to bring the players in, and you pay them like you're an imbecile, but then you realise, oh wait, oh no, we can't sell the imbecile, we can't undo the imbecile decisions, because they are anti-imbecile proof. It takes an idiot to undo an idiot's work. Yeah, that's where we're at. So all of these players that we've got that we can't sell, yeah, we can't sell them. We have to put up the easier sales. But guess what? Every other club around Europe, guys, they're not run like absolute buffoons. They're not. They're run by football brains and football minds. You know, they're not going to be sticking stupid money on the table. They won't do it. There are no other Manchester United out there in the world of football, guys. You can't sit here and say we can't sell Garnacho for less than we bought Mason Mount and other players like that. You can't do it because we're the idiots and those clubs out there are the smart ones. That's the truth. Time to reel it in. Time to wind down necks in and start thinking real here. We are not smart. We've not been a smart club for so long. We haven't. So of course it's difficult. But hey, if it takes us to sell to buy, then a transfer decision such as selling Garnacho. I mean, think of it like this: we're looking at a guy from RB Salzburg, a striker / winger, could play left side of 10, where Garnacho played today. You know, could sign him on the cheap, sell Garnacho. A little bit of that transfer fee goes towards him. Right, just a little bit of the transfer fee can go towards him. You've got more money to spend on other targets. More money. Casemiro, if you can somehow offload him because they're looking at a transfer, not a loan. I mean, use those funds to directly sign a midfield replacement. Yeah, like there's things to think about here. You know, stop putting your heartfelt feelings aside. Start thinking like a brutal, shrewd businessman, making those unpopular decisions. Think about what unpopular decision could I make tomorrow that technically, yes, financially would improve us, would improve our situation. Think ruthlessly, not like, oh, but my heart belongs to these players. We've looked at that for 10 years, guys. And we are in a relegation battle because of it. And no, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, we beat Southampton. We'll definitely beat Brighton now. Brighton went to Ipswich away today and won 2-0. They come to Old Trafford next on the weekend. If we try any of that business in the first half against Brighton that we've done today, yeah, we're in for a very, very rude awakening, I'm afraid. But yeah, that's where we're at. Do you trust Onana in goal in general? Not really. To be honest, I don't really trust Onana. I don't trust any of these players. That's the thing. That's the feat. That's where we are at the moment. This team, first and foremost, is not a likable team. I don't really like this team. They've got to build that trust. You know, trust doesn't just get earned overnight. I looked at Amad Diallo. You know, people will be probably rubbing one out to him tonight for that hat trick. But I don't look at that and see a team and go, oh, but we won 3-1, so it means I get to trust them again. I'll go into the Brighton game forgetting about the fact that for 82 minutes we were losing. Like I'm not gonna go through that. I'm not gonna sit here and stick my neck out on the line for a team that has shattered my trust so many times that I should just aimlessly walk back into it. Maybe if you look at the relationship situation for a lot of the Manchester United fans that do think like that, Hell, there's a lot of guys, right, that keep walking back to the same toxic girlfriend that has done nothing good for them, or opposite way round, girl keeps going back to the same guy that's done nothing for her. And it's like it goes hand in hand. Trusting your football club, this exact same situation as you trust in your girlfriend. You know they're toxic, or your boyfriend, whatever. You know that they're toxic for you. You know it's no good. But hey, at least we had a good day today. So let's go and hit the reset button and just pretend that we never had the issue to begin with. Yeah, let's do that. That makes all the sense in the world. Yes, absolutely. So no, to be honest, even if we do win 3-1 from a losing position, I will not trust this. I refuse. I refuse to trust this team. I've got to see a team that I can like, that I can see a direction, that I can see a mutual understanding and a togetherness where these players, they don't just turn up for big games. They understand every game is a fight, is a battle, is a war, and you're there to win the wars. Because if you lose your wars, guess what? There generally isn't a second chance. Yeah, there's never a second bite at the cherry. So win your wars when it matters. Get me a team of players that really feel that, spiritually feel that. Then we can start having discussions about me starting to trust this team again. But bring me players that actually instill this lightliness. Give me the confidence that I am backing the right people at this club. Lenny Oro was getting cooked tonight. He was not getting much help from the other defenders. Well, the thing is that when you're the wider centre backs of the back three, the problem is that Amad Diallo, being a winger, is not tracking back as much, right? He's not coming as deep. So with the pace of Sulemana wasn't going inside every time, by the way. He was constantly going on the outside of Lenny Oro to get around him. He was going the long way around the guy. Lenny Oro has to come out to occupy the space, because otherwise it's just a free run. It's just a free run and a free cross with no pressure. Because then you have to go from centre to go wide to try and close it down, by which point the cross has probably already been delivered. So he has to play wider, and the other two defenders have to come across slightly, by which point your wing back on the other side comes to sit deeper as well. So you essentially, it would be a back five, but because of Ahmad playing as a wing back today, he played a lot more. So his average positioning was further forward. So Lenny Oro was always going to have a more exposed game today, but he didn't deal with the challenge of Sulemana well. And I think for me, pace was the biggest killer for him. I think if it's not a pacey player and Yoro can stay with him, I think he has a better game. I do. I think Yoro does have a better game if he's got a slower player there. It's just that Suleiman, I thought I could really expose this kid. I can get him down to a one-on-one because his wing back ain't going to help him. So he saw the space there and exploited it, and I think that's where first half Southampton kept going down that side. But on the second half, the balance of play, they shifted it and went a bit more down right-hand side, but the ball wasn't getting anywhere. And when Southampton went down the left-hand side in the second half, what happened? They got in. So yeah, that was the balance of the play. But anyways, let me know what your guys' thoughts and feelings on the match were down in the comment section below. Don't forget as well to smash a like and subscribe. Brighton up next on the weekend on Sunday, I believe it is. Is it Sunday? Do we play them on Sunday? Yes, we do, at 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. Ooh, joint kickoff times with Everton, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, and Southampton. And I'll tell you what, with that Tottenham score, we're above him in the table now. Same games played. We'll have to watch out for that score, but I'll tell you what, we've got to do better. We've got to do better against Brighton than we did tonight, because I'll tell you what, Brighton as the opposition in the same state of play, we don't win that game 3-1. For me, we don't. So, got to make good on our chances and turn up. And so I think Xerxes, for me, is a must start. And to be honest, I think Collier, give Collier a nod. I think with the cameos he's had recently, he's been, he's not looked out of depth. He's not looked out of depth at all. He's finding his place. So, you know what? Hats off to the kid. But anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and yeah, sign some bloody players, Ineos. Please sign some players.